Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome to another episode of Inside Arsenal. I hope all is well and you're having a very good week wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. First of all, thank you very much for your kind words and comments on yesterday's episode, which of course featured an extended exclusive interview with Dutch legend Jaap Stam, where we spoke extensively about Jurrien Timber. And Jaap gave us his expert insight into the sort of player that Arsenal would be signing, talked about his strengths, his weaknesses, his character, all those sort of things. If you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, then go and have a look. You'll be able to find it on YouTube if that's where you want to watch it, or you'll be able to find it on your podcast networks as well. Just have a little bit of a search. It was yesterday's episode, Saturdays. So take a look at that. And thank you very much for your kind words about that episode. Okay. Let's talk about current matters with Arsenal, shall we? And we've got to start with Jurrien Timber again. Of course, I was talking with Jaap Stam about him. He's not quite signed yet, but it is very, very close now. He spent the day at London Colney on Friday going through all of his media stuff, the medical side of things. He'd flown back to Holland now. He spent yesterday in Holland. I don't know if he's going to be coming back today or not. Arsenal do fly out to Germany later today for their pre-season training camp ahead of their friendly against Nuremberg. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in this episode. I don't know if Timber's going to be flying back and is going to be linking up with the squad then. We'll have to wait and see. It depends when. I don't know when Arsenal are going to announce this, basically. But he spent the day, he met his new teammates on Friday, did media stuff and had his medical and all that sort of stuff. So it's just a case of when this is going to be announced and when he can get everything in order to come back over here and link up with the squad. So yeah, certainly moving forward in that, we're very much right at the end of that stage with Jurrien Timber. Declan Rice still rumbles on. And there's been lots of talk, lots of reports that he's been at London Colney. I think on sort of Friday or Saturday, people were saying he was there. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't been at London Colney yet. And I think he has been with some club staff over the course of the last couple of days, but I don't think he's been at the training ground and done any of his media or anything like that yet. So it looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer when it comes to Declan Rice. But by the time you're watching or listening to this episode on Sunday, who knows, he might have gone into the training ground and started doing all the necessary stuff before we can get very, very close to an announcement when it comes to him. But both are moving forward. Certainly feels like Timber maybe slightly further ahead down the line in terms of ticking all the boxes that needs to be ticked before an announcement can be made. But we are getting there. Ideally, Mikel Arteta would absolutely love to have them over in Germany for the training camp. As far as I was aware, the aim was certainly to get Timber over there at some point, even if it's not a case of flying him over with the rest of the squad on the Sunday. Then he could go and link up with them at some point, similar to what Zinchenko did last year when he flew out to the US to link up with the squad, sort of halfway through that trip. And you can understand why. It just gives him a chance to meet his new teammates properly, spend a bit of time away from them, obviously have some training sessions, which are going to be really, really important, and potentially even play in that game against Nuremberg on Thursday. Now, I don't know exactly where Timber is in terms of his fitness. A lot of the squad have been back for about a week or so now. I think he was keeping himself fit while at Ajax before coming over to London. So hopefully he might be a decent bit of fitness, but decent shape. And that would mean that he would be able to link up with the squad on at some point during the week ahead of that game on Thursday against Nuremberg. Ideally, Rice would do that as well. I think we'd all love Rice to get out there and just have this over with, really. I think once we finally see him holding up that number 41 shirt with Rice on the back, it's just going to bring us all a little bit of closure, because it feels like it's gone on for a fair while, this one, even though we are still relatively early on in the summer. But the sooner that does get done, the better. And again, it would just be fantastic to get him over to Germany, to get him linking up with the squad, have a few training sessions, have a bit of game against Nuremberg on Thursday, potentially, before that pre-season tour to the USA. And there he is, smiling, Declan Rice. If you're watching this on YouTube, soon that will be in a red and white kit with the number 41 on the back. Okay, let's quickly talk about Emil Smith-Rowe. I know I talk about him a lot on this channel. Lots of people take the mickey out of me for that, but he certainly deserves a bit of a mention today. England, of course, winning the Euro Under-21 Championships last night with a 1-0 victory against Spain. Went through the whole tournament without conceding a goal. Very nearly did in this one, a truly dramatic ending. Spain getting a penalty in the 96th minute, which was saved, and England winning 1-0 thanks to a pretty fortuitous winner just on the stroke of half-time, a free kick deflecting in off Harvey Elliott. Smith Rowe didn't have the best of games, a couple of bright spots when he got on the ball, but was sort of pretty isolated out on the left at times, but still fantastic. Emil Smith Rowe adding the European Under-21s Championship medal to the Under-17s World Cup winners medal he won a few years ago as well. So really good for Emil Smith Rowe. I thought it was a really nice touch. I don't know if you saw it or not, but Martin Odegaard and the whole Arsenal squad recorded a good luck message to Smith Rowe, which went out on social media during the day on Saturday, which I thought was a really, really nice touch. And yeah, I'm sure he's really looking forward to getting back now and kicking on with Arsenal, because he had a very good summer. He really wanted to have a good summer with England, get his fitness up, get some proper minutes under his belt, and then he's going to be able to come back and hit the ground running for Arsenal. And, you know, he's certainly done that so far. Okay, Arsenal were in action yesterday. If you haven't heard or didn't know about it, they did have a behind closed doors friendly yesterday against Watford. They always have one of these against Watford. Normally always try and squeeze it in at some point during the season. Watford literally over the fence from Arsenal. The training grounds are right next door to each other. They're literally neighbours. And so it's a very easy friendly to set up every single year. Finished 1-1. Marquinhos getting Arsenal's goal. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the team there in the starting 11. It was Okonkwo, White, Gabriel, Holding, Cedric, Lewis, Skelly, Trossard, Nelson, Bandera, Jesus, and Nketiah, and then lots of subs came on in the second half. James Hilson, the young goalkeeper, Marquinhos, Mika Birth, Koji Dubry, Jimmy Gower, Jack Henry Francis, Alex Kirk, Norton Cuffy, Ethan Ranieri. Loads of them. I mean, it was a really, really young team. Watford went in front just before half time, and Arsenal equalised with Marquinhos in the second half. And lots of the young players got involved, which is good. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see some of the pictures up here now. Ranieri playing Norton Cuffy, good seeing him there. Jesus was captain when he was on the pitch for Arsenal. And yeah, I think it was a good run out. Arsenal will be very happy with what went on yesterday. And I mean, it's not really much more to say about it. It's pre-season friendly, behind closed doors. Result really doesn't matter. Very, very young team out there. And I'm sure Mikel Arteta will just be very, very happy with getting some minutes into his players' legs. One player who didn't play in that game yesterday, but is at the training ground now, is Kai Havertz. He's now training with Arsenal. It was his first day at the training ground yesterday. Also went over to the stadium, had some pictures done there. Obviously considered a little bit too early for him to play in that friendly against Watford. He was one of the late arrivals. Lots of the non-internationals came back yesterday. Bukayo Saka, Fulham Balogun, Martin Odegaard, Zinchenko, Austin Trusty. Of course, Austin Trusty coming back. I think this was his first day at the training ground with the whole squad since he signed for Arsenal. So it would have been a big day for him to meet all of his new teammates. I do think Austin Trusty will be one of the players who go out at some point during the summer, whether that be on loan or whether it be on a permanent basis. I mean, Arsenal are heading off to the United States in a couple of weeks. He's a US national team player, so you'd think purely from a marketing point of view, more than anything else as well, that it would be worth him going on that trip. Balogun as well, the poster boy of the United States at the moment. You certainly want him on that trip. But good to see those guys back. Bukayo Saka, fantastic to see him back. And they'll all be heading off to Germany as well, getting some proper minutes under their belts on the training ground. And then having that game on Thursday. Mikel's going to really want this trip to Germany to go well. It went really well last summer. The whole summer was perfect for Arsenal, really. Everyone said it. Everyone talked about it. You still hear about it now when you talk to staff about how important that summer was in terms of the bonding, in terms of the results, the momentum, everything like that. And Mikel really want to replicate that this time around. So I think he's going to be having all eyes. And that's why I think he would absolutely love to get these sign-ins of Timber and especially Rice through the door just get them into the squad so that he can really sort of start building that rapport between everyone. I think he'll be really, really pushing to get it done. Obviously, they're really big deals to get over the line. There's lots of stuff that needs to happen, especially when Declan Rice is a 105 million deal. Every single thing has to be checked and gone through correctly. But Arteta will certainly be pushing very, very hard for that to happen. Okay, I'm just going to go with a question here before I wrap things up. It's a bit of a short one for you today. Very busy day today. I've got to take my little boy out to Mercedes World. Absolute car nut at the moment. So taking him out for a bit of a daddy and son day. But before I do that, I thought this was an interesting comment that I wanted to talk about. Gabriel, I think everyone talks about William Saliba, and rightly so. Look, Saliba's been absolutely fantastic since he's arrived. He's just been this sensational player. But Gabriel, I do think it's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. I really, really do. And this was from Lil M Bomvu. Sorry if I got that totally wrong there. But you said, I was wondering, why do many fans and pundits underrate Big Gabby, the defender? Every time when people talk about replacements in the defence, it's always him who is highlighted. I think people should really start appreciating and respecting the man. I believe it would be a bigger miss if he could get an injury, especially if played with Zinchenko. 100% agree. And I thought he was brilliant last year. I put him above Saliba in my player ratings, I think, for their end of season ratings. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. When he came back from the World Cup, especially, he was so good. Because Saliba's form dipped after the World Cup for quite a while. Gabby was the guy who stepped up. He's such an underrated player. He's so good on the ball. Yes, there's a few errors that creep into his game. I think he's done well, certainly in the second half of last season, to limit those as well. He's seen those sort of moments when he just kind of lost his head a little bit and seemed to go to sleep, and he would often get punished. I think he's done well to eradicate that from his game, certainly on such a consistent basis. He's a real threat at the other end of the box as well, which is hugely important. He always pops up with about 5 goals a season. Real threat, dominant. He's becoming a real leader as well, really popular behind the scenes. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people, fans included, really do underestimate how good Gabriel is. And he's still so young as well. He's only going to get better. And I don't think, I'd never thought we'd go into this summer thinking, oh, Arsenal need to replace Gabriel. Absolutely not. I think that partnership, Gabriel and Saliba, is so important. It's so strong. It's the bedrock that Arsenal's kind of success has been built on. Certainly last season, as soon as Saliba got injured, you could see how much of an impact that had. Because just having those two together, so settled, they know each other so well. They know their game so well. They get on really well off the pitch as well. And they're just a hugely impressive centre-back partnership. And so I don't think the focus should just be on one player. It shouldn't just be on Saliba. It should be on both of them. So I think you're really right to highlight that. And he's a hugely important player. And if he were to get injured, it would be a massive miss, just as big a miss as Saliba, I think, as he was over the final months of last season. We wait. It remains to be seen how good Kivior is. I thought when he came in at the end of last season, he showed some good signs. Thought he looked, very good on the ball. There was definitely a couple of errors that were costly in his appearances, in his limited appearances. But you would expect that from a young defender still getting used to things in the Premier League. But, if Gabriel was injured for 2 or 3 months, it'd be a big miss for Arsenal. It'd definitely be a big, get my words right, be a big worry. And so, yeah, I think you're really right to highlight that. And I think it's a really, really good comment. Okay, that's it from me today, everyone. Bit of a short one. I hope you have a very good end to your weekend, wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. I'll be back tomorrow to talk all things Arsenal as we gear up to a really, really big week with the first pre-season friendly, competitive pre-season friendly, shall we say, happening at the end of the week. Big week coming up. Have a great one, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.